Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It's Toys Day, the 26th of March, 2026. And, what's up, what's down, what's over here, what's over there? Squirrel! Oh, my gosh. The media's doing it to us, folks. And guess what, media?
You won't be trusted anymore.
All right, welcome to the Thursday edition of the WTF Reports. I'm Dave vonKleist here, WTF, with the facts. And if those facts make you exclaim, what the... Anyway, you know what that means. But anyway, so be it. You know, it's not like we're not in the middle of a great, big, monstrous, propagandized, manipulated, massaged moment in our lives. So it's really tough to be able to sort out what's real and what isn't, and so we have to really, be diligent about this. And thank God we've got so many independent researchers that have, I'm talking not just tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands of independent people all over the world are on the internet, and they're digging, and they're finding, and they are posting. And the mainstream media and the government can't stand it. They got to shut you down. We got to stop all these people that are researching and thinking for themselves. They're not swallowing our garbage anymore. Well, thank God for that. Anyway, I have questions. Now, ever since October 7th, and I'll say that again, October 7th. Yeah, just like the media does that all the time, October 7th. Yeah, we hear it over and over. And we keep on hearing God's chosen people. Israel has a right to defend itself. It's in the Bible. We have, from the river to the sea, So theology has been pushed upon the psyche of all the people. And now people, look at what happened with TPUSA. People are getting involved in spirituality, getting back to the Bible, getting back to, learning about God again. And that's a good side of TPUSA. Well, there's another dark side, but I'll get into that maybe later. I don't know. You regular listeners know what I'm talking about. But ever since October 7th, many millions of people now are starting to go back and take a look at the Bible. And they're comparing it to, what's being touted on the mainstream press, about, Israel has the right to defend itself, and Israel, all this. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. I started to ask questions. I started to go back and just, ask some basic questions about, beliefs. Because, we're supposedly the Old Testament and the Torah are hand in hand. And in many ways they are. I was at Isaiah chapter 53 in the King James Version, and Isaiah 53 in the Torah are word for word identical. And it's something you might want to check into. As a matter of fact, I may still have that tab open on my computer. I got like 25, 30 tabs open on my browser. But that's something you might, if you're out there listening, you might want to take some notes here. And I have some questions. As a matter of fact, let me open up I forgot to type in the password here. Let me type in this password and open up the phone lines here. Give me a second. Bang. Okay. So hopefully now the phones will be open. Yeah, okay, there it is. It's on. So if you want to join me in the conversation, the telephone number here is 215-867-8255. Now, the reason I'm opening up the phone lines because I'm hoping that somebody out there can answer some questions for me. Now, for those of you, some people have a real problem with people who ask questions. Some people listen to respond, and other people listen to understand. And I'm trying to understand, okay? And I'm going right back, all the way back to the basics, all the way back. So because of the fact that biblical references are being touted, and we already went through this. I'm not going to play the clips. You all know how I feel about Mike Huckabee deliberately misquoting Scripture, Ted Cruz doing the same thing, John Hagee doing the same thing. Why are they manipulating? Why are they changing the words? They obviously have an agenda. You're not supposed to do that. But so anyway, I started digging, and I started from the very beginning. And for those of you who have your Bible handy, I'd like you to follow along, because this is going to be a big question. Now, I may be stupid, but I mean, I know how to do basic math. So what I'm getting at here is in the book of Genesis, the very beginning, we all know that Adam and Eve were the first two human beings according to the Bible. And Adam and Eve had two children, two boys, Cain and Abel. Okay, so now let's do the math. Okay, we have Adam and Eve, that's 2, and then you have Cain and Abel, that makes 4. I think that's right. So there's 4 people, 4 human beings. But Cain kills Abel. All right, so now you've got 4 minus 1 equals 3. Now, I know I'm being really stupid simple on this, but now we got 3 people, okay? Now I go to chapter 4 in Genesis chapter 4. You can follow along with the bouncing ball, and you'll understand why I have a question. Because in chapter 4, verse 14, and this is after God told Cain, he says, you know, that I caught you, you killed your brother. And there's consequences for that. Let me see, I'll go back one. Okay, chapter 4:13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Because God's going to banish him, okay? Now, line 14. This is Cain talking to God. Now again, we're talking 3 people, Adam, Eve, and Cain, because Abel is dead. There are 3 people. And now I read. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. Who is the everyone he's talking about? There's only Adam, Eve, and Cain. So if he's being booted out, and he says, you know, everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And then it goes on to say in verse 15, it says, and the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him 7-fold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Again, who's going to find him? I want the answer to that. Who are these other people? Where did they come from? So I don't have an answer for that. So if anybody can enlighten me, tell me who, quote unquote, they are, where did these other theys come from? Now, maybe I'm just stupid, but I mean, this is why, you know, I go back and I try to cross-reference. I mean, years ago, when I was living in Missouri, when Joyce and I were doing the Power Hour, we had a huge library. We had all these different versions of the Bible. Of course, we had the KJV, the NIV, we had the Hebrew translations, the Greek translations, we had the Jerusalem Bible, the Tyndale Bible. We had a whole bunch of different cross-reference and concordances, yeah. So the point is, though, I don't have that anymore. So maybe some of you out there can answer this question. I want to know who they is. Now, I got another question, okay? Now, again, in the King James Version, and I'm not trying to be a biblical scholar because I'm certainly not that. Absolutely not that. I'm still learning. I mean, people are learning their entire lives from Scripture. But anyway, I'm looking now at the book of Joshua. All right, in the book of Joshua, and this is chapter 10, and let's see, chapter 10, verse 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Here it is. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? Question mark. I said, book of Jasher? What the heck is a book of Jasher? I mean, this is in the Old Testament. So if the Old Testament is referring to another book, I would have to assume that the book of Jasher predates the Old Testament. Okay, and we get confirmation in that by going to the second book of Samuel. Because in chapter 1, verse 18, It says, also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. So wait a second. What is this book of Jasher? It's referred to twice in the Old Testament, and that just confirms in my mind that whatever this book of Jasher is predates the Old Testament. So, as I was searching for the answer to my first question, who is they, I went to the book of Jasher. And I happen to have a copy of it. I've had this copy for years. But anyway, I went to the book of Jasher. And now this is going to make your eyebrows go up. And again, I'm not, trying to interpret anything. I'm trying to understand. So please don't get your knickers in a bunch and say, oh, you're a blasphemer or you're doing... No, I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to, assume or, interpret anything. I'm just reading it literally from the pages. I'm letting you get your gears turning in your cranium. All right, now in this book of Jasher, who are they? Let's see here. Let's see if I can find out who they is. So I will read through chapter 1, and all of a sudden I had to stop. Wait a second. Because in verse 12, chapter 1, verse 12, okay, and I read, it says, and the Lord drove them that day from the Garden of Eden. Of course, he's talking about Adam and Eve, to till the ground from which they were taken. And they went and dwelt in the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his wife, Eve, and she bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. Let that sink in. What? 3 daughters? How come they're not mentioned in the Old Testament? How come they're not mentioned in the KJV or anywhere else? I haven't been able to find any other references other than this one to 3 daughters that Eve gave birth to. So again, I have questions. Now, we all know that it says that the serpent beguiled Eve, right? Well, now we get into the question, what is the definition? What was the word that was used for beguile? Now, I don't have my Greek translations or Hebrew translations anymore. And again, I'm asking you people out there to help me out with this. Does anybody have an answer to this? Where did these 3 daughters come from? What was the definition of beguiled? Could it also mean seduced? Now, that seduced, yeah, I mean, you can seduce somebody. Doesn't always mean sexual seduction. You can seduce somebody by convincing them into something. But there is that side of sexual seduction. So did the serpent seduce Eve? Where did these 3 daughters come from? Now, if the serpent did seduce Eve, would this add credence to the concept that a lot of people balk at, and I do too? They say, oh, well, there's a reptilian line. There's a reptilian line in humanity. Well, this raises some very serious questions. And I would like to know what's going on with this. So if anybody can, come up with that, anybody has any answer at all, I'd love to hear from you. 215-867-8255. Now, I'm not going to get all, biblical and all. Well, I guess I am getting a little biblical here. But the thing is, like I said, ever since this horrendous act of genocide and apartheid that was being, that Israel has been pulling off, and they justify it in their minds because they're God's chosen people. Now, I just want to point out, and I don't mean to digress, but I got to point out that if you're a Christian out there, or if you're a Muslim out there, or if you're anything other than a Talmudic Jew, you are expendable. And if you folks out there that support Israel, if you're, right behind John Hagee and you're right behind, our government, that Israel is our greatest ally, look what Israel does. I mean, they're homicidal. And keep in mind that they spit on Christians. And if you Christians out there think that these individuals, these Talmudic believers, if you think that you're immune and they won't come after you, you got to wake the heck up. Because as far as they are concerned, you are Goyim. As a matter of fact, we all heard of BLM, right? Well, how about GLM? Goyim Lives Matter. If you're not one of them, you are Goyim. You are less than a dog. They can kill you in their mind. And this is why the overwhelming majority of the Israelis, who unfortunately have been conditioned and brainwashed from their early childhood to believe this. Now, again, it doesn't make any difference what you believe. It doesn't make any difference what I believe. What makes a difference is what they believe. And they have made it very clear that they believe that your life is nothing to them. And for all of you folks that are supporting Israel, and for all of you folks who are involved in businesses and corporations and all the other things that make up our society, just look for that little blue star. And if that little blue star is there, I hate to say it, but they see you as scum. Less than scum. That's the way they see you. They will lie to you. That's their job. I mean, don't ever forget, by means of deception, thou shalt make war. They are commanded to lie and deceive you. And that's in the Talmud as well. Now, I'm not trying to kick off a holy war here, but I mean, come on, folks. When are we going to connect the dots and realize that, yes, this collective entity has basically taken over our country? We have been commandeered. We're the victims of a coup d'etat. And yet, everybody is still standing right in line.
Oh, yes, Israel is our greatest ally. You can't say anything bad about them because that makes you an anti-Semite.
And things are so upside down and backwards. You regular listeners know doggone well that the Israelis are not the Semites. The Palestinians are the Semites. And if the Palestinians are the Semites, the Israelis are the anti-Semites. That's how backwards things are. And people have got to start connecting the dots. People got to have to somehow, some way, start opening up their eyes and, putting two and two together, doing basic math and understanding that we have all been hoodwinked. We have all been flim-flammed. And, what's it say in the book? It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Well, it's not like I wasn't screaming about this 30 years ago. Here's the title cut from the album Will Someone Listen that was released 30 years ago, and it's more applicable now than it was when I released it. Just give a listen to the lyrics here. This is kind of important here. I'm connecting dots.
It's been going on for year after year, and so many have shed many a tear. And when they sit down to cry, they never question or try to find an answer. That's the way it's been for oh so long, and you're so used to it you don't see what's wrong. It's in your history, and if you just look and see that it's repeating. When lawyers' litigation goes without examination, you can bet that it won't take very long. With rules and regulations and without representation, pretty soon you'll sing a slavery song. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't know what was real. You'll learn the hard way. So how can you get someone to hear when their ears are filled with self-imposed fear? If there's a voice in the crowd that shouts a message out loud, will someone listen? How can you get someone to see when they can't bring themselves to turn off TV? If someone turns on a light, will others join in the fight or turn a blind eye. When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you were asleep at the wheel. You didn't care what was real. You'll learn the hard way. When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. No, go ahead and go your own merry way, but I can tell you that you'll soon curse the day you've been asleep at the wheel. You didn't care what was real. You'll learn the hard way. Will someone listen or turn a blind eye?
Yeah, will someone listen? Was anyone listening then? Are they listening now? When your country's education doesn't teach about your nation, how your family fought so hard to be free, it creates a situation and promotes perpetuation of a people who will live on their knees. That's where we are, folks. We have been dumbed down, manipulated, and massaged into submission. And the only way out of this, folks, is for people to pull the scales off of their eyes and start connecting these dots. Because we're being lied to about everything. And let me see, there's a document that I've just been reminded about. I was scrolling through, and there was an interview with Deborah Tavares back in 2013. And the funny thing is that I can't remember exactly when it was. I think it was in 04 or maybe 05 when we were doing the Power Hour. And Joyce and I interviewed Deborah Tavares. We interviewed so many different people. I mean, Charlotte Iserby, oh gosh, rest her soul. Wonderful woman. But anyway, Deborah Tavares was being interviewed in regard to a document that came out in July of 2001, before the 9/11 attacks. Yeah, before the 9/11 attacks. And I happened to be scrolling through, and there was an interview about her, with her rather, and she was referencing this document, and it came from NASA, and it's entitled "The Future is Now." Okay, and let me see, it says here, Future Strategic Issues, Future Warfare, circa 2025. Let that sink in, folks. Now, in the past, I have referenced the Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflicts Short of War. You can look that one up, and that was released in 1995, and it was written by James Kivett. Oh gosh, I got a copy of it here. I'll pull it out. Let me see. Where is it? Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah. James Kivett and Stephen Metz, and this was in 1994, and this was from the U.S. Army War College. But I'm not going to reference that document. If you want to pull that up again, yeah, I'm giving you reference points here. Like I said, I'm here WTF with the facts. Okay. This document is called The Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflicts Short of War. And it's a scenario on how a future war could be fought without firing a shot. Real interesting information in this. But that's not the document I'm referencing today. I was just giving you that for background. And that document is posted on our website, TheWTFReports.com. So you can go and look that up. Now I'm going to get this. I sent over a PDF copy over to my webmaster, and hopefully he'll get that posted within the next 24 hours. And again, this is from NASA from July of 2001. The future is now. And it's all about future warfare, and they're planning all this stuff to happen around 2025. Oh my, we're into 2026. So the stuff that they have in here was what they were planning 25 years ago. This is interesting. I mean, and this was a PowerPoint presentation that was given at NASA by Dennis Bushnell. He's the chief scientist at NASA Langley Research Center, or at least he was. I don't know where he's at now, but this was 25 years ago, again, before the 9/11 attacks. And there is so much in here that will curl your nose hairs. I mean, this is just crazy. Make your hair stand on end. Because they're talking about nanotech. They're talking about smart dust. They're talking about all the stuff that we've been hearing about now, but most of us had never heard about it. But let's see. Here's their attitude. Here on page 8, one of the slides says, Spaceship Earth. The crew, that's us, we are plundering the ship's supplies, tinkering with the temperature and life support controls, still looking for the instruction manual, that's funny, engaging in bloody skirmishes in every corner of this vessel of Earth, and increasing the size of the crew by 2 million per week. Yeah. The next slide says humans have, quote, taken over and vastly shortened evolution. Okay, the human species, genomic design and repair. I mean, they get into all this. They get into robotics, artificial intelligence, like I said, nanotechnology. And I'm just flipping through here. There's just so much here that it's going to make you go, seriously? Anyway, let's see here. Some of the predictions here. Quantum computing initially available in 5 years. And this is going back to 2001. So that means in the early 2000s, 2005, 2006, they had quantum computing. And they also predicted wearable or implantable on-person electronics. Do you have a smartwatch? Let me see. Communication, computing, sensory augmentation, health monitoring, and brain stimulation. Okay. Let's see. There's so much in here. But and this is all about waging war. And they get into some really technical stuff about nanotechnology, smart dust. I mean, we're breathing this stuff in, folks. We're little electronic, microscopic nano machines that embed themselves into our bodies. And you couple that with the hokey-pokey thingy-dingy with the graphene oxide, and then add in your 5G and soon to come 6G microwave pollution. You just put the puzzle pieces together. I mean, they are basically, they want to destroy a huge part of humanity. And that goes right along with the Georgia Guidestones. You remember them. Anyway, let me see here. Major emerging law enforcement issues. I'm just flipping through here at this point. Privacy. Oh, okay, you're going to lose your privacy. Let me see. IT crime, net crime, biocrime. Okay? I mean, it just goes on. Let me see. There's another one here. Let me see. Competitive. I just printed this thing out about an hour ago, and I was flipping through it, trying to figure out which pages were more important. Oh, here's some. Oh, yeah. Here's one of the slides that he used, and it says here: some sensor swarms, smart dust, combined sensors, communications, and power supply, floats in the air currents, nanotags placed on everything, everywhere. And we heard about that some years ago. You can go to the store and you buy something, it's nanotagged. They know what you buy. They know everything that you're doing. And again, this document is 25 years old. And then there's another slide here. It says, some explosive smart dust opportunities. Optimal positioning of explosive dust. Oh, jeez. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have been saying, hey, there's this weird fog that's going through here. Have you seen the people posting? I've never seen anything like this before. And they go outside and they put their flashlight and you could see it looks like it's not really snowing, but there's all this stuff floating around. Yeah. Let's see. Infiltration of deeply buried or other such targets. Let me see. Oh, there's just so much here. Oh, they got a whole thing about micro dust weaponry. A mechanical analog to biomicron-sized mechanized dust, which is distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into the lungs. Dust mechanically bores into lung tissue and executes various, quote, pathological missions. A wholly new class of weaponry, which is legal. I mean, these people, oh my God. This is from NASA, folks. I thought they were supposed to be doing space exploration. What is this about nanodust and weapons and biotech? There's a whole section on here on cruise missiles. Let me say, they said 75,000 in inventory in 75 countries, 130 different variations produced in 19 countries. Well, and those cruise missiles are in the news today, aren't they? Now, I want to remind you that this document here, and again, on the front page here, it says circa 2025. They wrote this in 2001. These were their plans for where we are right now. I got to take a break.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And you can get more tank by run screaming to your computer and go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Don't forget the word the, T-H-E, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and there's a window there that says Get More Tank. And when you hit that window, you can read all the specifications and details about what this fuel catalyst does. What it does, basically, it makes your fuel burn at a slightly lower temperature, which means it burns cleaner. That's a good thing for the environment. And also, you'll notice right away that you have more power. When you hit the accelerator, your vehicle takes off. And then, and here's the moneymaker, after a couple of tanks, your engine will adjust and it starts giving you better mileage. Anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage depending upon your make, model, year of vehicle, and how you drive. But that means money in your pocket. I don't have to bring to your attention what's going on with the price of gasoline and diesel these days. I mean, some areas in the country are charging $5 a gallon now for diesel. I know in my neck of the woods here, gasoline has gone up. Let me see, it was $3.09. It's now $3.79. So it's gone 70 cents just in the past couple of weeks. So the bottom line here is if you start using Get More Tank and you get 20% better mileage, do the math, folks. You know, you spend $20 and you save a tank of gas after 5 tanks. That's a no-brainer. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, click on the sponsors page, and Get More Tank. All right, it is now 40 minutes past the hour, 20 minutes to the top of the hour, and the phone line is open, 215-867-8255, and I'm still looking for someone who can give me an answer to the questions that I'm raising in regard to, 2 things. Who are, quote-unquote, they? And I'm referring to, they will kill me. That's what Cain said. And I thought that there was only Adam, Eve, and Cain, because Cain killed Abel. There's only 3 people. And so when Cain gets booted out, he's saying, I'll be a fugitive, and those that find me, they will kill me. I want to know who they is. So if you know who they is, I want to know. And furthermore, according to the book of Jasher, Eve bore 2 sons and 3 daughters. Unbelievable. So if you have any answers to those questions, folks, I would love to hear from you. I really would. Oh, and there was something else that I noticed. In Matthew Again, I digress, but I have so many questions, you know. I mean, I read this with an open mind, but I have to ask questions. I have to. In Matthew, let me see, it's 17, and you can check this out. I've cross-referenced this. I know that this is true. And I have another question. In the KJV, Matthew 17, let me see, where is it? 17, 21, here it is. Now, these are the words of Jesus, okay? I'll back up and go to 20. Jesus said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith of a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. But here's the next line, and again, this is 17:21. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because if you go to the New International Version, that line is missing. I wonder how many other versions that are out there that are missing Matthew chapter 17, verse 21. Why would that be deleted? Why would they take the concept of prayer and fasting out of the Bible? Why did somebody do that? I don't know who did it. I know King James didn't do it, obviously, because it's still there, but there are other versions of the Bible that are missing verse 21. Why did they do that? Why don't they want people to know about that? Anyway, I just, like I said, I question everything these days. Now, changing gears, this war in Iran, of course, we've been hearing on the news that the Iranian regime has been killing thousands and thousands of protesters in the street. Well, guess what, folks? Come to find out that they have now determined that the bullets that were being fired at the police to create these atrocities were Israeli bullets. That's right. It was the Mossad. The Mossad and the IDF infiltrated the crowds and created those riots and created the situation where the police were getting shot at and, they were getting killed and they fired back into the crowd. So again, I can't help it. I got to mention, by deception thou shalt make war. Yeah, at least these guys are consistent about it, aren't they? Yeah. So, this whole thing has been horse hockey. And anyway, in the meantime, what's his name here? Professor Marandi. He's a spokesperson for the Iranians, and he's been very vocal, and he's been basically saying, no, we're not going to negotiate. Because for not once, but twice, the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So twice, the Iranians went to the negotiating table, and while they were there, they were hit. And then they went back again in good faith. And while they were there, they got hit again. So they have no incentive whatsoever to negotiate with the United States. They're not going to stop. And, of course, we all know that the United States got involved with this, and I could play the clip from Marco Rubio, where he basically says that Netanyahu said, we're going to attack Iran. Now, see, the problem is the whole world knows that Israel and the United States are surgically joined, shall we say. Everybody knows that Israel has completely infiltrated our government and all of our institutions and all of our media and all of our manufacturing, and all of our health care, and all of our pharmaceuticals. They basically have taken over. And that's why I'm saying if you're out there supporting Israel, you need to look domestically at how many people are representing the Israeli interest in our government, in our infrastructure, in our tech, in our manufacturing, in everything. And if they've got that little blue star, they are not your friend. Which means, I don't know, do we need a revolution in this country? I think we do. But anyway, Professor Marandi, there's a bounty on him now. And it's posted on X, and now I have to ask the question, wait a second, hey, Elon Musk, how can you let this be posted and let this circulate? They're basically saying there's, what, $1 million bounty or something like that? Let me hear. Let me let you hear this.
They are offering $1 million for your capture, presumably then to be tortured and murdered.
Okay, I'm pause it. That's George Galloway interviewing Professor Marandi. Okay, here we go.
It's not the most important story of the day, but it's pretty important. Not least because Elon Musk has completely, steadfastly refused to remove the tweet. He's refused to suspend the authors of the tweet. Anyway, Scott Ritter said they've offered to kill Professor Marandi, although they know he's a peaceful man. But I am not a peaceful man. So I suggest to you that you raise $1 million to come and capture me. I promise you, it'll be the last thing that you will ever do.
Wow.
Give us your feelings about seeing that tweet in print. It's coming up all the time, mainly by people denouncing it and demanding Musk's action. But action, there has been none. Your views on that, Professor?
I'm not surprised, and I don't think you are either, after your experience at the airport in your home country and how they treated you and how you ultimately had to leave. The world is changing, and the West is becoming much more authoritarian and dangerous very rapidly. Elon Musk and X and other social media, they supported the genocide in Gaza. They supported the slaughter. They censored people for criticizing what was going on. I recall numerous tweets of mine that were deleted. One was a picture of a number of Palestinian children who were massacred, and I wrote above it, Western values, and in scare quotes. And they deleted my tweet. They forced me to delete it. Otherwise, I would no longer be able to use my account. And that happened many times. So this is how they have been treating the Palestinian people. Why not allow people to gather money to kidnap and torture me and kill me? It doesn't surprise me at all. What I think, though, is that it's not going to affect me in any way or form. I'm going to continue to do what I have to do. And my family and my loved ones are all very upset, but it doesn't bother me at all. And George, every night and often during the day, there are millions of people on the streets in Iran, in different countries, as I'm sure you and many of your viewers know. In Tehran right now, as we speak, in different neighborhoods, there are huge crowds chanting in support of the revolution, the armed forces, the Constitution, the leader, and rejecting the United States. And they have been bombed on multiple occasions. Western media won't say this, but I've tweeted footage, and I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you've seen it. I was at the Jerusalem Day or Quds Day rally on the last Friday of the month of Ramadan in Tehran. On that day, across the country, they had rallies. It was huge. They fired missiles at the rally. They fired missiles at it. But people didn't budge. They murdered a woman with their missiles. And no one in the Western media, from The Guardian to Breitbart, cared.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there because there was a video that came out of that event. Now, yes, there were thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people in the street in support of Iran. And I'm not talking, they were condemning the United States, and well, they should, for starting this whole thing based upon, like I said, Marco Rubio was saying that Netanyahu was going to go ahead and hit Iran, and they knew doggone well that because U.S. and Israel are joined at the hip, that if they did that, the U.S. bases would be hit. Of course they would. And that's why Iran hit the U.S. bases. It was because of Israel. Israel got us into this mess. So anyway, the point is, though, that all those people were out in support of the Iranian regime, and they got hit by a missile. Did they run and scream and hide and go for shelter? No. They basically threw their fists up and said, "This is not going to stop us." I mean, these people have serious resolve. And maybe it's because they haven't been indoctrinated, medicated, and et cetera, like the United States public has been. As a matter of fact, There was a guy, I don't know who it was, but this was posted on X. And this guy made some very good points. And this points right back to the document that I was just talking about from NASA. Because we've all been, shall we say, manipulated. How? Give a listen. Here it is. Where are you?
Glyphosated, cosmeticated, food sedated, and irradiated.
Okay, I got to back it up here.
People are indoctrinated, fluoridated, medicated, vaccinated, glyphosated, cosmeticated, food sedated, and irradiated. What does that mean? They watch TV. They're drinking water that has poison. They're taking medications that they're told will heal them, but they're actually killing them. So they're medicated. They're vaccinated, as you can tell by the last 2 years. People lined up for an experimental bioweapon clot shot for free, by the way. You didn't have to pay for it. It's free. Totally free. You have to pay for a Tylenol, but the vaccines are free. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah, sink
just
in.
Let it sink in. Let that just settle. Why didn't I have to pay for that vaccine? Number 5, the glyphosated. What is that? Glyphosate is Roundup. It's sprayed on your food. So when people say I got a problem with wheat and oats and corns and soy and all this stuff, it's not the problem. It's not that. It's not the stuff God made. It's the genetically modified crap that then they're spraying chemicals on. So gluten is not the problem. Glyphosate is the problem. You've been lied to. Cosmetics around every auricle on your face. They're sedated by the food and they're irradiated by the 5G, the X-ray machines, their TVs, and their microwaves.
Okay, so that would give a little bit of an explanation. And all the things that he just mentioned are inferred in these documents that I was referring to earlier. And I'm not just talking about the NASA document. And again, the title of it is "The Future Is Now." You can do a search on the net. Just put NASA, "The Future Is Now," and then scroll down. You can find a PDF version, which is exactly what I did, and I printed it out. So these documents are available. And again, I will also refer to the Revolution in Military Affairs and Conflict Short of War. You can look that one up, print that one out, and give that a read. Because all of the stuff that we are experiencing right now, as far as technology is concerned, as far as health issues are concerned, they outlined this stuff decades ago. This should come as no surprise. But then again, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. How long have broadcasters like myself been screaming about the additives in the food? The bisphenol A, atrazine, prions, and what it's doing to the genetics and the hormonal balances and all the other stuff. And of course, you just heard glyphosate. These things are done to us by design. We're talking about very, very evil people at the top of the food chain. And again, I refer to those little blue stars because they're the ones that are doing it. And there is a documentary, well, it's like a 15 or 20-minute video. It's called The Eighth Front. Go to X and do a search for The Eighth Front. Now, this little documentary or little video is nothing but news clips. There's no narration, no opinions. These are all one news clip after another news clip after another after another after another. And you will come to understand that there's a group of people that believe that Rome must be destroyed. Now, I'm not talking about Rome in Italy. I'm talking Rome in biblical sense. Rome, in their mind, is the West. It's Europe and the United States. And it came right out of Bibi Netanyahu's mouth. They have to destroy Europe and the United States. And the sad thing is that here in the United States, you've got all these Christian Zionists that are going along with this. They're being led like cattle to the slaughter, and they don't know it. And folks like yours truly and many others out there, whether it be Dave Smith or Candace Owens or Ryan Mata or Nick Fuentes or whoever, anybody who's speaking about this is immediately attacked. Yeah, ridiculed and threatened, etc., etc. I mean, they're literally threatening Tucker Carlson. And, of course, Joe Kent. Oh, Joe Kent. Bless your heart, Joe, if you're out there. He's trying to do everything he can to draw attention to this whole thing. Yes, there is an Israeli connection to the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes, there is an Israeli connection to the murder of John F. Kennedy. Yes, there is an Israeli connection to the 9/11 attacks. Yes to this. Yes to that. Yes to this. How do they get away with it? Because for the most part, Americans and the media have been flim-flammed, fooled. Of course, nobody likes to admit that they've been fooled. What was it, Samuel Clemens or Mark Twain said that, it's always easier to fool people than to convince them that they've been fooled. But you see, that's what this particular group of people does. By deception thou shalt make war. Yeah, that's what they do. And that's, and it's not like we weren't warned. Yeah, we were warned. In John, was it 8:44? Yeah, John 8:44. Yeah, where is it here? I'll gotta pull it right up here. 8:44. Jesus is talking to the Pharisees. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And again, the commandment was, thou shalt not bear false witness. So how does that fit into this group of people who do nothing but bear false witness? And they're commanded to do so. Anyway, I didn't mean to go off on some theological thing today, but, I just want the answers. I'm asking questions. I don't want to have to pass judgment on anybody. But, if you're going to add 2 and 2, you're going to come up with 4 every time, unless you're talking newspeak. But that's the problem with the media. They want to tell you 2 and 2 is 5. And then of all the people who agree, yes, 2 and 2 is 5. 2 and 2 is 5. 2 and 2 is 5. Excuse me, 2 and 2 is 4. Oh, we hate you. You're a hater. You're this and that. Oh, that's the way it goes, folks. Anyway. All right, we're coming to the closing minutes. Oh, I wanted to mention to you that there was, I think there's still a sale going on with Wave Watch. And if you want to get a Wave Watch, this is the time to do it. You'll get the discount if you go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. The pop-up will be there. And for those of you who don't know what the Wave Watch is, it's based on Tesla technology that was refined by Royal Raymond Rife machines, and it was miniaturized by Linda Banber, who took the Rife technology and shrunk it down to the size of a wristwatch. And, it puts out frequencies. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing mine right now. Let me see if I'll turn the volume up a little bit so you can hear it. Let me see. Oh, there's this, and there's this. Okay, here it is. I'll turn it up. Let me see. Can you hear that? Yeah, that's the frequency. You're wearing this on your wrist, and I don't have to actually hear it, but the sound is going into my body, and my body is like 80% water. And sound travels through water or liquid a long, long way. That's how whales communicate in the ocean for hundreds of miles. And it also travels 4 times faster than the speed of sound. So, although I may not audibly hear those frequencies, my body is hearing it. And they got all kinds of frequencies for all kinds of stuff. Check out the Wave Watch. You'll be glad that you did. And like I said, check into the Rife technology. Look up what Rife did, and you'll understand the principle behind the Wave Watch. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the pop-up there about the Wave Watch, and it'll tell you all about it. And once you get yourself educated, hopefully you'll want to get one. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for today's Thursday edition of the WTF Reports. And as always, if you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or Facebook or YouTube, do me a favor and click like, share, subscribe, make a comment, and above all else, spread the word. Word of mouth is the best advertising. And and also, like I said, do business with our advertisers. You might want to pick up some merch. We got coffee cups, baseball caps, T-shirts, stuff like that. I really suck at self-promotion. It's not about the money. It's about getting the word out. And unfortunately, getting the word out costs money. So that's why we do this. All right, that's going to do it for today's broadcast. I'll be back again tomorrow. So until then, God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay free. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow.